The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
What time is it?
I started to question myself if I was watching Lucha Underground and I had accidentally flipped over to Cinemax.
Not a whole lot of faces shown as far when it comes to Brenda, so
Yeah.
you're spot on there, buddy.
This is the house that AJ Styles built.
Like Nakamura, he's just such a great star. It doesn't matter what you do with him, people are going to cheer for him.
Did you feel the gloriousness? Did you feel it? Bobby Roode did his job.
This is insane how great they are.
Well, I think the authors of pain are young prodigies.
That's how good we are, representing Bullet Club. This is what we do.
Super Kid Pate! Japan!
Hey everyone, I just wanted to check in once again. That's right, this is Gary, still in the Caribbean, enjoying a great vacation. I am in a spa right now. I decided Hell in a Cell is coming up, and I needed to get a little stress-free. And at the same time, I figured I might as well give you guys my predictions for this pay-per-view. So let's do it. Rusev, I think, is going to take the victory. Well, I'll be honest with you. The only reason is because the lady giving me the massage, I think, is Bulgarian, and I want to keep my spinal cord. So, Rusev, this massage is going to be glorious. So I'm going to go Bobby Roode. Yeah, over Dolph Ziggler. And sometimes you got to go and trust the good old American way, and AJ Styles is that way. So we'll choose him to retain that U.S. title. Woo! Yeah, having a nice time here. And I still think that Charlotte will have a nice time at Hell in a Cell because I think that she will grab that title away from Natalya. It is going to be a New Day, and the New Day themselves will probably have an enjoyable one for them because I think they'll retain their tag titles. Kevin Owens in a cell with Shane McMahon could go either way, but I'm going to go with the great old Canadian Kevin Owens. I think Jinder Mahal is going to continue being your WWE champion. That may be more disappointing than anything else, but here we are. And I'll catch up with you guys next week. Have a great show.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the mat.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Leazar.
Hello and welcome to Wrestling to the Max, episode 267, part 2. And we have quite a show for you today. We have that WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view preview. We also have a New Japan show preview as well. First time Paul and I get to talk about New Japan together in a while, so that's awesome. And, you just heard from Gary in the spa. I'm sure some of you might have felt some weird tingly feelings.
I know
we did. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like maybe I need to start, we need to reconsider how we do these pay-per-view previews now, Maybe we need to do them in a sauna too. Thankfully we'll have he will be here for the Hell in a Cell review show that we'll do on Sunday. So, and maybe he'll teach us how to do the review from there for that. And as long as everything goes well, we'll get to hear his stories from the cruise and everything else. But in Gary's stead, we will preview both of those shows. And, of course, the New Japan show is on Monday morning. So on the Monday show, we'll have the review of that. And, of course, we also have reviews of the second part of Ultima Lucha Tres. And that Impact Wrestling as well, to go along with a Superstar of the Week, Superstar of the Month, and the Match of the Month as well, and all the good stuff we usually do. So, Paul, I mean, how are you feeling on this evening?
It sounds busy.
Yeah.
Which is sort of, I guess, par for the course for Thursday, because Thursdays, for like the last 2 months, have always felt way busier than Mondays do. So, I don't know. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be shorter since we don't have to worry about trying to work Gary in. But
Yeah.
it'll certainly be. I don't know. Maybe it'll be more or less PG rated. Who knows?
Who knows? Well, so Gary usually does keep it on the rated R section normally, so it might stray more towards the PG-13, but we'll see. We'll see with all of the crimson that some people spewed on Lucha Underground, it might work out in the other way. But let's begin things here with quick hits in the news.
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
Well, we will. This is probably the first time in a long time that we don't have any actual, just straight up WWE news on the quick hits here. If my dock will decide to stop freezing, but yes, we do. Gary kind of made us feel weird feelings, but we're gonna feel kind of weird and sad at the passing of a true legend. One that I'm sure Jerry the King Lawler is feeling very deeply at this moment as well, too. Memphis Wrestling announcer Lance Russell has passed at the age of 91 after suffering a broken hip over the weekend. Unfortunately, when you get older, you become rather brittle, and any time that you fall or anything like that is usually a grave consequence. And the even sadder thing is that also his daughter passed during the same weekend from cancer. So for that family, it's got to be just absolutely heart-wrenching right now. Our condolences go out to them. But Paul, Lance Russell, quite a career for himself.
Absolutely, yeah. Worked in the Memphis area from the late 50s all the way to the mid-90s. Probably best known for Continental Wrestling Association, although the Mid-Atlantic area, the NWA promotion that was there, he also worked for them before the split. One of the guys who I unfortunately haven't had the privilege to listen to, but if you've seen anything from the Andy Kaufman era where they had that big feud with King, he's the guy calling the stuff as far as what's going on in the ring. So just a legendary figure, somebody who JR has an immense amount of respect for too, and a lot of people do as well. He's in like 4 or 5 different Hall of Fames all across wrestling. Like the dude had people's respect and 40-year career essentially. Just 91's a good long time, but it sure does suck to lose it just because you fell over. I can't think of I could think of a sadder way to go, but that's just really depressing that you fall and suddenly it's over.
Yeah, and he outlived his wife who passed 3 years ago as well. He's married to her for 67 years. I mean, that is an accomplishment right there. To be with somebody for that long. And you're speaking of JR. He did get to make his debut in WCW on a NWA worldwide episode with JR. So that's it. It's cool that his life kind of got to go full circle. He ended it with Smoky Mountain as well, and it's just that this guy, seriously, as far as Southern wrestling goes, he is a legend, and just feel bad for his family right now. And I mean, hopefully, I'm sure that at some point WWE will be inducting him into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't at this point, especially if they ever get the Memphis stuff up and running on the network.
I hope so. It'd be nice to watch it. Like, there's so many stories I've heard of people saying, "Oh, this was great from Memphis." Like, so many storylines that they had. Like, come on, King and whoever else. Like, let's get this together and on the network.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
They do keep adding world class stuff on the network, so that's positive as well. But we have to move on from sadness to brighter things here, and perhaps brighter things for Lucha Underground. Maybe, depends, because if you take away some of that production value, what does that do to Lucha Underground? But they might have found funding for season 4. I feel like we already talked about this, and they go back and forth all the time. But this funding source is apparently going to be way less than what they've been paying for each episode, which I'm assuming would also perhaps maybe affect contracts and whatever. And also the wrestlers are still wanting to get out of contracts, and I'm assuming when you're putting less money into the product itself, that's not going to be a great thing to hear from the wrestler side of things. What do you think? I mean, you watched this. I mean, this is the first time that I've watched it in a while for Ultima Lucha, and obviously production values is very important to this show. We have so many wrestling shows out there. Once you kind of take that away, that kind of makes it become just like any indie out there, right?
You know, I'm trying to really figure. The only thing that you really have a lot of production value in is the backstage segments, I would assume. Whenever they go to the weightlifting room or to the bathroom, as is their favorite place to shoot stuff, or wherever else. You don't really have, I think, what you had even in season 1, which had all those video packages, and you had so much more like sort of big stuff happening, lots of effects, and you don't. That's not present in season 2 or 3. So unless it just sort of trims down even more to where they're basically just doing everything in the ring, I'm curious to see what else it would affect. Just because I'm not super familiar with the side of the business, but the contract thing, I think, is probably the more important deal. Like, how much are you going to have to pay these guys? How many of these people actually want out? How many are going to, I guess, sort of try to finagle their way out? Because we know Ricochet is basically done after this season. That's sort of, I guess, where my mind's going. Who's going to stay? Who's going to go? Because I think a lot of what makes Lucha Underground just as important as the production values is the talent. And if enough of them go, it's not really going to feel the same. And I don't know how it's going to affect the long-term, story of what they're trying to tell here with the promotion.
Yeah, certainly. You're going to have shoes to fill. I mean, Prince Puma seems like they gave him a nice out from the looks of it, or pretty much. I think we can all kind of tell what's going to happen in a couple weeks. But Sexy Star, I'd imagine, that's going to be difficult to bring her back after all the. If she's done with AAA, that means she's done with Lucha Underground. So, we've already started to see Johnny Mundo on GFW and Impact. I mean, I know he does have a great big deal to do in AAA as well, so perhaps he sticks around. But like you said, it's important to know how many of these talents are going to go away. And I'm sure Ring of Honor could use some folks after they keep losing people. And not only, I mean, you have to imagine at some point there's a limit onto how many you can add to the NXT roster, but that they're going to be watching it closely as well, and New Japan too. So, and whoever gets signed to New, ROH, they can also be used in New Japan. So, it's going to be one of those of whenever this does finally get set, and they go, okay, we have a season 4. who's sticking around, who can actually get out of their contract, because some of these people did sign 7-year deals, and I guess the new people would have to figure out if they want to continue honoring those or what, because that I don't know who is actually winds up being in charge for that, if it's the production people or if it's others. But yeah, I mean, I wonder how much input does Robert Rodriguez still have in this, and how much of that those because for me, like when I watch it, the wrestling is great. You're always at least guaranteed one pretty good match a show for the most part. It's for me, it is watching sort of those backstage vignettes of and also just how they move the story along, because it is sort of more like a novella than even other wrestling companies are. So if they take away that too much, that does make it lose some of its essence.
Yeah, that's something very important to keep in mind too. I'd almost be kind of curious if they do go this route, just to see what happens, right? Just see what this new Lucha Underground would be like. Do they have to move to a smaller arena? Do they have to, is it going to be even more dingy somehow? Like, are they going to work it into the story? Like, this could all sort of have different ramifications, and some good, some bad. But I still want to see the place keep going personally, even if it is sort of a shell. Just some way to get some finality would be really nice.
Yeah, exactly. If you say, okay, look, we're going to slim the production down, I don't know if there's a final word on the ratings, if they were down from last time or not. Obviously, they had the big break in the middle, which didn't help them at all. And, will they say, okay, look, we're going to do this, but it's the final year, and at least you get a closure to everything instead of, oh, well, it's all hanging in the balance again. Let's see what happens, and we don't know.
Right.
All that matters, though, is you better have Dario Cueto still there, because that will really change the show around.
Yeah, that will be a big change.
Well, speaking of making big changes, something I think many of us thought we'd never see in a WWE produced television show, War Games, is happening for NXT TakeOver Houston, which I think you were planning to still go to all those shows, right?
I'm certainly going to TakeOver now.
Yeah. might want to make sure that you get ready whenever those tickets go on sale, because that's going to be a hot item now.
They're going to go super quick, I bet. But did it get colder over where you're talking about right now? I feel like it got colder.
Yeah, I feel like I might be feeling a bit of ice underneath my feet here, because if there really is a inferno beneath us, it's much smaller at this point.
Yes.
It's crazy. Look, I think we all talked about this at one point. Like, if it ever happened, it would be Triple H that brings it back, because Vince wouldn't do this. It does sort of make sense in the NXT setting, right? Like, you're honoring Dusty Rhodes. Now I wonder if Ric Flair would make an appearance, or Arn Anderson's around producing stuff for WWE still. So it would be cool to kind of have the legends around to kind of usher this in. And who are they? I'm assuming it would involve the Cole and O'Reilly and Fish contingent against somebody, but I'm just glad this is happening. This is awesome.
Yeah, the match is going to be the Undisputed Era, which is Cole and Red Dragon against Sanity, and they're going to do a 3-team set. So the third team is the Authors of Pain and Roderick Strong.
Wow.
It's all coming out of the tapings. So that's technically a spoiler. I probably should have warned before I started getting into naming stuff, but I'm really excited. War Games was one of my favorite things from WCW. kind of sad Gary's not here because he'd probably be freaking out right now. But
Yeah.
this is really, really cool. I mean, it sort of makes this event must see. The thing I'm wondering though, like this had like an order for a cage big enough to fit 2 rings had to go by Vince's desk, right? Did he just sign his name? Oh, it's got Triple H's name on it. I'll just sign that and pass it back to him. You know, I mean,
No, maybe Triple H just convinced him, and he's like, well, it's not on WWE, main TV, so I don't care. And maybe Triple H said, look, if this works out, maybe you could do it on the main show or anything. I mean, this is one of the first like true like original things that we're getting to see NXT do that's not taking from something you're used to seeing a lot on WWE TV. And credit to them for the most part for, yes, they've taken some of the gimmicks, but they don't just take everything, whereas like this is one of those times where you go, man, hats off to you. You're bringing something back that a lot of people thought they'd never see again, and that's amazing. I think this is going to make everybody want to watch that show.
right?
Not that you want to miss a takeover at this point, because somehow, doesn't matter who's on the freaking card, they somehow continue to equal or surpass the ones before them.
Mm-hmm.
But got a lot to live up to as far as, the history of what this match is and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, and the participants I just named too, I think are more than up to the task of really putting on something memorable for sure. It's just, there's such a history, there's such a long list of great War Games matches, which are all out there on the network for you to watch if you want to go see them. There's a whole collection geared strictly towards War Games. So this is definitely something really, really cool, and I'm super excited to hopefully have the opportunity to go.
Well, yeah, we'll be glad to hear that you're there and get a full report from the show. So 'cause I imagine it's gonna be even more awesome just being there watching it. Hopefully they let them go all out. Still WWE TV would be cool to see some Crimson going on.
You think they make the show longer at all to make up, because War Game matches ain't short,
Perhaps they have a little less matches. That could be a thing. Hey, you know what? We have seen them toe that line sometimes between 30 minutes over and 45. So if they went a full 3 hours, I guess for one time wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, very true.
I'm just glad they're doing this. So this is an awesome thing to look forward to, how they do the story going forward.
Mm-hmm.
We will get to cherish that moment.
Get hyped.
Get hyped for sure. Thankfully, no hype.
No mojo.
So, we've talked about this Flow Sports lawsuit going on with WWN. Of course, they're the parent company of Evolve. And right now, WWN has not been officially served, so there's nothing going on. WWN also has their reasons why they want to sue Flow Slam as well. So this is just going to be that ongoing saga that until you got served happens, okay, that we'll see any movement in this. But even then, they got to go back and forth. They got to have preliminary hearings, all that. So this is going to be something that's going to take a while.
Yeah, just right here just sounds like it's going to take forever to figure out if it ever does get settled inside a courtroom, so.
Yeah.
I wanted to put this on here so people would be prepared to probably hear us talk about this until 2020. So.
God. Thankfully, we will not be the only ones talking about it, so you can decide if you've tired of it by the time we get there, and maybe we just won't talk about it one week or something. But yeah, the good thing is usually these things are set, way ahead of time, so there'll be this quiet storm for a while, and then finally, whenever they go to courts, when stuff will start happening. But I'm sure there'll be dirty laundry that gets aired
Oh yeah.
between there and now.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Evolve, they did dub their next couple of shows The End, which made people think that, oh my God, does this mean that they're folding or whatever? No, it's not. It's just, Evolve playing with your head because they know they can. And it probably has to tie into storylines and stuff like that. But, I mean, what did you think about it when you saw it?
We got worked. That's
Yeah.
that's what happened. Because I was like, because Gabe had that stint at NXT for a little while. I'm like, maybe he really enjoyed that, wants to go do that, or all this other stuff that's going on with him just outside of the lawsuits, and maybe it was the end. Maybe they were gonna close it down, but here we are. They're still gonna be here. We just all got worked, and I'm kind of okay with it.
It's okay to get worked every now and then.
Yeah.
Keeps things fresh in your fandom.
Keeps you on your toes.
If nothing ever works you, then you're just way too inside baseball at that point. It's not that much fun. The thing for me, I think, is also that it benefits WWE a lot for Evolve to be around. So I don't think that they would want Gabe to close up shop. Unless Gabe just didn't want to do it anymore, then at that point that's different. But even then, I think that they would want him to hand the reins off to somebody else, because having that Evolve name where WWE is not attached to it allows them to see talent and then decide if they want to sign them from there, or you can have people that are signed to other companies show up in Evolve, and you can get that first-hand look at guys that go, gonna keep tabs on him to see when these contracts end and see if we can, get some feelers out there and sign them or whatever. So it's a mutually beneficial thing. But yeah, I mean, it's totally understandable that we all get worked because of the lawsuit thing and everything else.
Right.
And news that I don't know how many people are going to care about this, but Eddie Kingston has left Impact Wrestling. I'm sure there will be more people leaving Impact Wrestling as they figure out what they want to do with Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I think the tally of people they've released in the last month is about 8 to 10 now, including both, wrestlers and commentators and all that good stuff. So I kind of am a little saddened by this. I'm a huge fan of Eddie Kingston. I've got to see a lot of his work from Chikara. He's wonderful there. He works at AEW a lot, too. He's really good over there as well. But I think they're sort of missing out on a guy who might have been able to be a little something more than just fodder. But c'est la vie, right? Tomorrow's another day for Eddie Kingston.
Maybe he gets signed with somebody,
Maybe so. I mean, he did have tryouts with the WWE, so.
Yeah, I mean, Ring of Honor could work for him, too. So it's there. Evolve, maybe.
Yeah.
But all right, that's going to do it for the news on this show. Like I said, we'll be back on Sunday doing that Hell in a Cell show, and then Monday we'll have our regular show with more news. So won't be too long. But speaking of Hell in a Cell, let's do our predictions for that show. Harry did his with his new co-host Liz Puglisi on SmackDown. Gary did his before the show. Now we gotta give you ours. So here you go, folks. Pretty good band there, that Airborne, as they certainly are hoping that we were not experiencing hell watching this show. If the previous pay-per-view is anything to go by. But yes, let's hope for better things for Hell in a Cell. And they have a nice card that you'd expect some good things to be happening. So let's keep positive, WWE. Good things. So they just added this pre-show after the Tuesday SmackDown. Gable and Benjamin taking on the Hype Bros. This feels like let's give Gable and Benjamin a win, and let's just destroy the Hype Bros after this. It's the last straw.
I mean, the Hype Bros do seem to be going for Splitsville, which is fine, just because I think WWE has plans for Mojo, and as much as I love Zach, I don't think they're ever going to do anything with him again. But WrestleMania came out of nowhere, so who knows? But yeah, this is totally a win for Gable and Benjamin as they look to be the next team being sort of groomed up to challenge for the tag titles, unless the Fashion Files actually turns out to be something big to push those guys upwards towards a title match again.
Would be interesting to see that happen. I think certainly as this is Gable and Benjamin thing to win. It looks like we're going towards heel Mojo, so I'm sort of interested in that. I imagine he can't be too hyped when he's supposed to be angry and whatever, but I guess you can be angry hyped too. I don't know how that's gonna work, but we've seen him seen him as a singles guy. He does pretty decently, so I don't know. I've liked him more as a singles than as a tag guy.
I liked the Hype Bros in NXT, and it never really got a chance to translate to SmackDown because Ryder got hurt really whenever they were trying to build them up. So that as unfortunate it is for Mojo, he found better things afterwards, and I think WWE wants to run with it.
Don't blame them for that, but it just keeps going with the theme of NXT tag teams that get ruined on the main roster.
Absolutely.
Speaking of ruining, they're going to ruin my life for about 10 minutes probably. Randy Orton and Rusev going at it still, my lord. These guys have quick wins over each other, and for some reason we got to have this at a pay-per-view.
And does Rusev really have a chance?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. This is all Randy.
All Randy, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a quick victory too, just to not have us have to watch it very long.
Whole 30 seconds maybe this go around.
Let's hope. Let's just poor Rusev. Poor Rusev. Dolph Ziggler is loving trolling the fans, and apparently he gets more time the more that everybody complains. And you have the glorious Bobby Roode. I would imagine that Bobby Roode is here to put him down another peg. This could be a good match. I mean, when Ziggler is interested, he will have a good match, and this sort of works to that sort of old NWA Bobby Roode style of you have the face that people can get behind. This is weird because it's like Ziggler is that guy when he wrestles that you're supposed to get behind him. Roode, the way he wrestles, it's hard to get behind him because he's very slow, methodical, and whatever. So depending on what they do here, this could be good or this might drag.
I don't wager they're going to get a lot of time. If this goes north of that 10-minute mark, I might be a bit more surprised than I would be. But this is here for Bobby to get a win. As much as I'd really like to see them go at it for a long period of time, you're right. Like, the whole dynamic is off here. I don't think they really want to expose that too much. So,
yeah. Plus, they got to leave time for the bigger matches later. So,
yeah.
I'd imagine if this gets 10 minutes, we'll be lucky. And then you have your Women's Championship match, which this has got to continue because they're promoting it all the way to the Starrcade. We don't know if it's going to be on the network event. So, and I guess why not? It's a feud that's worked before. Let's keep doing it. I'd imagine because of that event being called that, you'd think that maybe you'd have Natalya still win and have Charlotte win it there, but with Flair possibly making an appearance and everything, I'd imagine Charlotte wins.
I really want to go with Charlotte here too, and if Starrcade was going to be on the network, then I would be saying Natalya here in a heartbeat. But because I mean, it makes so much sense to go into North Carolina, into Starrcade, and have Charlotte challenge in the cage and get the big win and all that. I still don't know, even if it is just a glorified super big house show, do they really want to take away that luster from that show or anything like that? And that's what makes this kind of hard. I don't wager
they could
it's
also
going to
have
be...
Natalya win it back on SmackDown or something like that too.
That's true. I don't think this is going to be clean at all, but I think Natty walks out with the belt.
Wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens as well, but the way they have been about women's titles recently just makes me think that they could do so many things. I'm going to go with Charlotte and hope that I'm wrong and we do the more logical thing. But we'll see. WWE and logic a lot of times don't always go together.
They don't get along sometimes, you're right.
And we have the first Hell in a Cell match. I wouldn't be surprised if this opens the show too, because normally when you have these gimmick matches, they don't have them go too close to each other. So the New Day defending against the Usos in the Hell in a Cell. I hope that there's some crazy spots, some brutal stuff. These two have been delivering in their matches every time. I'd expect nothing less here. I think New Day are going to retain.
I think New Day retain too, and I would be lying if I'm not saying if I wasn't saying that this is the entire reason I'm basically watching this show. Like, these two teams have been on fire. That street fight was incredible. They're just so great together. I think you're going to get more of that same magic here. And honest to God, I hope this gets 30 minutes. I really do. I know it won't, but I really hope they get just tons and tons of time to go out there and just show you why you should be watching them.
Honestly, they should, considering the other two matches that are left before you get to the other Hell in a Cell match. Don't make me feel like I need to watch them for a long time. So please be intelligent and give the teams that have been working their butts off time to deliver. And they have a history. They have matches to go off of. I mean, please, just please, because there's nothing that's going to happen in this Jinder and Shinsuke Nakamura WWE title match that's going to be just awe-inspiring, all right? I mean, like, this is another one where you could, even though Nakamura has really no tangible connection to North Carolina at all, you could save his first championship win for that show if you wanted to, and have Jinder retain here, just to keep his I'm still carrying the title for this length of time going on. I'm going to say Jinder just because they've carried it this long. Why not for some more time? I'm just not looking for this match at all.
You think that's what happens every time they look at Jinder running around with the world title in the SmackDown's writer room? Like, we've gone this far. Why not? Why not another month?
Yeah,
why not another month?
Like, Road Dogg's like, it's
could be worse.
Right?
What
do we got to lose? I mean, it's been kind of middling since he's been champion. It could be middling for another month, right? So.
Oh, God. I really hope not. I want Shinsuke to win. It's time to move on and try something else. And I think Shinsuke with the championship might actually give us it gives you a reason to book him less and might give him a reason to want to wrestle better matches. Just because, he's got to that point where he wants to be.
Opponents, that'd be
that
too.
That is very true. If this goes more than 10 minutes again, too, I'd be shocked. I really would.
Oh, please don't. Please don't.
It could.
This.
It could, Sean. This could be 15 minutes for some god awful reason.
Oh God! Don't say that. Don't say that. Look, AJ Styles is a Wonder Man. We love him, but Baron Corbin is, well, he's Baron Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
So, this match will probably be better than it should be because AJ is in it, but AJ is going to retain. I feel he's going to keep this, the United States Open Challenge thing going. Baron Corbin will probably still keep screwing people over like he does, but I think AJ wins in the end.
I think AJ wins here too, but I think it's because we're going to get some Ty Dillinger involved here to sort of mess up Baron and maybe push the feud that direction so AJ can go work with somebody else, maybe like a Sami Zayn or something down the line with this U.S. title open challenge. So I'm really hopeful that that's going to happen. I very much doubt it, but I think you're right. Either way, AJ is walking out with the belt.
That'd be nice. Please let Ty Dillinger have a feud on this show. That'd be so nice.
I agree entirely.
The dude deserves it. Come on now. He is giving you 10s everywhere. Please give him a chance to give you a 10 in a match that matters. So we get to, I'm assuming this is probably going to be the main event because it's a Hell in a Cell match and it's a McMahon in one of the corners. So it's going to be a main draw. It's been one of the main draws of SmackDown. But Shane McMahon is not winning. He didn't beat The Undertaker, somehow still a GM. So, yes, I still remember that WWE, even though you would like to make us forget that you screwed up that entire storyline. But Kevin Owens, do you think we see a Vince sighting?
I wouldn't be shocked if we see Vince. I wouldn't be shocked if we see Triple H here either. And that's cool. Somehow, to sort of shutter that over, maybe it's going to be KO and Triple H at Mania, something like that, and that gets Shane the victory here. I think that would be really interesting. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm going to hedge my bets, too, and say Kevin Owens wins. But I'm really looking forward to this. They've done a very good job of building this up, and Shane is willing to basically put himself as close to death as humanly possible, and Kevin Owens is much the same if you've ever seen him in a hardcore environment. So,
yeah, this could be one of those, like, a match that we're not, like, having way too many expectations for, and it just absolutely delivers. So let's hope that that's the case. Hope,
sounds familiar.
Shane's going to have his kids out there.
I wouldn't be shocked. Wouldn't be shocked at all.
You're like, hey, you saw me in the other Hell in a Cell. Watch me jump off and almost die again.
Yeah. I'd love to see Kevin Owens do some bad mouth on him, too. I think that'd be funny. Go home. Do your homework.
Yeah.
Don't be here.
Why are you here? My kid's not here. What are you like? My kid's too good for this show. Yeah. But, yeah, that's your WWE Hell in a Cell 2017 happening on Sunday night. Of course, you will have 2 reviews as per normal. Harry and Patrick will have the Wrestling and Wrath Reacts, and then, of course, the 3 of us will have our W2M reviews, so look for those on Sunday night. And now we're going to go into the second part of Ultima Lucha Tres that had quite a bit of sangre happening. If you understand Spanish, if you don't, that's blood for you. There's plenty of that. So if you like the bleeding, you need to go watch the show. But we'll talk about it here because I don't have I still keep forgetting to get the Lucha Underground drop. But hey, we started off with some light fare because hey, it's their WrestleMania. Why not have a bout of Royal too? And you get to involve some of the lesser talent, and that is the case here for this one. And you get the big return of Pimpinela Escarlata, the exotico, kissing people in the crowd and making Matt Striker wet himself, anticipation for a kiss of his own, because he was really into Pimpinela coming back. But you've also got Paul London in this match, Saltador, Mala Suerte, Argenis, Cortez Castro, Son of Madness, Vinny Massaro, who you can talk to him on Twitter. He's a great follow, that man. The Mac, Joey Ryan, Ricky Mundo. Yes, it is a Johnny Mundo impersonator. PJ Black, Mascarita Sagrada, all brawling. This took about 4 minutes. The match was really just, it's a battle royal. So the Mac wins because the dude just wins every freaking opportunity most of the time. And why not? He's great. And Dario Cueto, of course. These are never just straightforward opportunities.
Of course.
He lets the Mac know that the two guys that basically almost died in the previous, the part one, that you really need to go watch this match, and we'll tell you why at the end of this show, at the end of this entire show. Killshot and Dante Fox, those will be his partners. Wow.
Wow. That guy Dario's a real dick, huh?
Yeah. If you didn't know by now, you know again.
It's all basically an angle wrapped up around a battle royal that's there to quickly do its job, let the Mac get a notable win, and sort of move on to the next thing, which will be a trios title match. So that should be super fun. I also really want to talk about that first angle too, where you have Ivelisse and Jeremiah Crane arguing backstage, and Crane finally tells Ivelisse that he's in love with Katrina, so she super kicks him straight into a toilet. Might be the best moment of 2017 I've seen all year.
Yes, that was great moment. And yeah, then we get into the bloody parts of the show, one after the other. Katrina having her first match in 3 years on this show. And I think they had to live up to the character, because she does have wrestling training. She was in NXT before it became the NXT we know now, so you'd imagine she learned some moves here. But obviously, being a manager, valet sort of thing, they had to stay true to that. And she understood that very well. So Ivelisse gets called a bitch, not just by Mr. Jeremiah Crane or at the beginning, which that is they make the normally I'm not a big fan of the intergender stuff, but that totally works in that setting. They do at the beginning of the show, and then of course they play that off here on this because of him saying that Crane is in love with Katrina. Katrina goes into Dario's office and grabs beer bottles and smashes them. And when I say smashes, I mean if there was a way to cave somebody's head in, she did it, because she hit her like 3 times with bottles. Ivelisse now has red hair, so it was a little bit hard to tell at first because the hair was down, but when she puts the hair back, you can see the blood just there all over her.
Crazy
and
amount.
Immediately you knew this was not going to be your typical brawl. And then they, Katrina tries to get the stone involved. Ivelisse comes back, and eventually gets the win, actually kicking out of Katrina's big finisher, that double hook DDT thing. And Ivelisse whacks Katrina with a stone, hits a DDT on her own. And that's it. But geez, crazy from Ivelisse. Well-deserved win.
They, for a match that was made way back at the beginning of Season 3, and I'm sure a lot of people probably forgot all about, because Ivelisse got hurt during the filming of this season and couldn't be around and all this other stuff. I think they did a very good job of making sure that you're going to remember this match going forward, because they bleed a whole lot. They brawl all over the crowd. You have the stone thing and all that getting involved here. This was a really, really fun match. Maybe a little shorter than I would have cared for, but I think it got the job done very nicely for the time that it filled.
Yeah, it only went about 6 minutes, but yeah, they really did fill that time well, and they played up a lot of the storyline parts of Katrina thinking that she's got this in the bag, being very overconfident,
Mm-hmm.
and then Ivelisse coming back and in a crimson mask winning, and then of course it wouldn't be all, great things for Ivelisse because Crane lived up to it, what he was saying. He comes in and attacks Ivelisse right around where her ankle is with a hammer, trying to injure her again, allowing Katrina to go back and take the stone
Mm-hmm.
and then leave. So I guess that's there for if they continue it at all during the rest of Ultima Lucha, or it's something we got to figure out for next season. But interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we still have the triple threat to come on Ultima Lucha with Mil Muertes, Jeremiah Crane, and Cage for the gauntlet. So maybe you get some more insight into what's going to go on with these guys there, but I don't know if I would bet on it. But it pretty likely to happen. It's just with no season 4 yet confirmed, we don't know if we're ever going to get some resolution here, and this is what kind of stinks because this is another thing I really want to see them follow up with.
Yeah, I bet they will. We might see
Mm-hmm.
some in that three-way or something, maybe something leading up to it backstage, that they don't have to comment on. So
Right.
But then you have the main event of the show, which is the Lucha de Apuestas, hair versus mask. Phoenix obviously putting up his mask, and Marty the Moth putting up his hair. Melissa gives Phoenix a little kiss for good luck before the match. Mariposa's out there with Marty, and yeah, these two just absolutely go for it in these 12 or minutes or so, and you have Phoenix again, who is a wonderful bleeder. He's done it plenty of times on this show, and also his mask is apparently like the thing that everybody loves to cut up on this show because it happens to him here again. Doesn't even wait to try to just win and have it removed. He just tries to remove it during the match, and he almost succeeds. Just a lot of awesome moves happening, by the way, in this too. And Marty is about to use the scissors to basically just, I guess, either stab Phoenix in the head or just cut up the rest of his mask. And Melissa gets on the apron and stops him, promising Marty that you'll get to run off together and everything. And of course, Marty gets distracted. He puts down the scissors. Melissa gets involved and gives him one hell of a slap. I mean, you could hear that thing across the arena. And then she kicks him in the balls because, hey, you got to defend yourself, right? And then Phoenix gets in, is able to go up top and hit the springboard 450, and Melissa even helps Phoenix get the pin so that they get the win, and they get to celebrate beating the big evil creep. And even then you get another layer added to the story because Marty tries to escape, but Mariposa's waiting for him. You think that, he's going to leave and not, pay it off, cutting his hair. Mariposa levels him in the head with a chair. Still not the biggest fan of the head chair shots.
She throttled him with it too. I mean, they get a close up. It is uncomfortable.
You almost get the POV view from Marty of what it's like getting hit in the head there. And just, it does not make you feel good after that, but certainly shocks you into thinking that, yep, sister just double-crossed her brother. She handcuffs Marty to the railing, and then you get the haircutting and shaving of Marty as well, as they let you know what's happening in the next couple of weeks. So, pretty awesome match. Great match that you really need to go out of your way to see. Even for me that hasn't followed a lot of Lucha Underground this year, I could get the story in the 12 minutes that they had, and it was damn good. So this is what makes Lucha Underground great, is when they get to tell off their stories. And Ultima Lucha, as much as sometimes it's felt like Lucha Underground's kind of been under the radar and people aren't talking about it that much, when Ultima Lucha comes around between the match from last week and then this week, people pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in here, and Marty Posta turns on Marty after he sort of pulls her in the way of a dive, and she has enough and storms off, and then comes back later for the comeuppance. But this was all great. I think it worked in all the story elements very well. I was not very high on Marty coming into Lucha when he first did. I have done like a complete 180 on this guy. He is wonderful. Really like attaching himself to the gimmick. He's had some absolutely stellar matches here. I can't get enough of this guy. And Phoenix was the perfect foil in this. And throw in Melissa Santos, who the crowd is in love with as much as Phoenix probably is in story. And it just all makes for a really wonderful atmosphere. And Melissa finally she gets a little bit of sweet taste of revenge as well, right along with Phoenix, which really helps, I think, pull the story through and invest you even more, which is just great.
Yeah, that's exactly what helps us, is that everybody kind of gets their comeuppance by the end of this thing. You know, Mariposa, Melissa, Phoenix. You finally get to see Marty go down for the creepiness and for all that. And yeah, I mean, honestly, the man has shown Bray Wyatt how to be a better Bray Wyatt, honestly, throughout this entire story. So, you know, hey, WWE, maybe you got the wrong guy. But I don't want to be that mean. Bray is really good. Just, it seems like for the longest time he's lost his way. But going back to Marty, I was the same way. It's like, who's this guy? Oh, he used to be on Tough Enough. Okay, you know. And then he just gets enraptured in this character, and you just feel it every time. Oh God, this guy's so freaking creepy. He's so awful. Like, you can really feel like maybe he's really like this when he's not at the temple, you know. And then he goes and wrestles, and you're like, oh wow, it's not just the character. He's not just a gimmick. He's really good at the in-ring stuff too. So definitely hit on Marty.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Ultima Lucha Tres continues next week, and this will be absolutely fun to watch. Last Luchadora standing, Taya, Sexy Star, of course, some real stuff involved in that one too.
Yeah.
And then you have the Trios title match, the Reptile Tribe versus the Matt Killshot and Dante Fox. Going to be interesting how Killshot and Dante Fox get along. And you've got the Gift of the Gods title ladder match, Pentagon and Son of Havoc. So, damn. Three big matches happening.
Super great lineup for next week.
If that doesn't deliver, something happened wrong in a big way there. But all right, we're going to transition out of here. And now we're going to go into New Japan land and talk about King of Pro Wrestling in just a second.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
All right, so King of Pro Wrestling happening on Monday morning for you folks in the States. Monday night, obviously, for in Japan. And we're going to start off with, of course, what do you know? Tag matches, because it's a New Japan show. You got to have tag matches. Bad Luck Fale, Yujiro, and Leo Tonga. This is a sibling of Tama Tonga and Tongaroa. And against Sanada, Hiromu, and Bushi of Los Ingobernables de Japón. I'd imagine that Leo Tonga is here to take the fall, and Bushi picks up the win, but should be an interesting match. This will be my first time getting to see Leo here, and These guys, I mean, it's not the greatest contingent of Bullet Club folks, but could still be interesting.
I like Leo. He's still very green, obviously, but he adds a nice dynamic, I think, and you know, the aura of legit Tonga toughness will always surround these guys, so that's there as well. But this is totally here for Lij to win. I'm still looking forward. I like watching Young Lions a lot, and Leo certainly does fit the bill there.
Yeah, certainly. So we move on from that to Toriano and Hiroki Goto against Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. This could go either way. You could have Yano pull Yano on CSJ, or you could have Suzuki just pounding fools, whichever one. Zack Sabre Jr. making Goto tap out, or whichever. I'm going to go with CSJ makes Yano feel the pain, and Suzuki-gun wins.
I'm going to go Suzuki-gun here, too, just because this is the two main people you're supposed to care about here, and it kind of be a little bit of a backstep if they lost here, in my opinion. Also, I like the idea of watching them just torture these two mindlessly for about 12 minutes.
Please do so. It's always great. Plus, Goto and Suzuki getting to have some kind of chop fest or something would also be fun. I could see Yano just frustrating the crap out of CSJ and Suzuki as well. So could be a fun. I
really want to see Suzuki and ZSJ sort of get in an argument about how to apply holds on Toru Yano just to watch the facial expressions.
Oh, can I get a hold on Yano? It might be too big. I don't know. I'm sure the referee will get involved and everything else. So good stuff to be had there. So the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships are on the line as Taguchi Japan, Taguchi and Ricochet defending against Roppongi 3000. I feel like Taguchi and Ricochet have been a really good team. They still retain, I hope.
They're really, really fun together. Who do you think Rocky's partner is?
What are my choices here? Has he hinted at anything?
Not that I'm aware of.
Man, who's maybe Jay makes a return or something.
Maybe Jay. I don't know either. I'm more interested in who his partner is, honestly, than I am the match, because I do think that they've dubbed themselves Funky Future. Ricochet and Taguchi have. I think they retain here as well, just because they're super fun to watch together. But I really want to see who Rocky's bringing in, so that has a lot of my interest.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he does do some work on the dojos whenever he brings in a young lion we haven't seen.
Maybe so.
But all right, you get the IWGP Tag Team titles are on the line. Oh, salivation should begin. Oh, I wish, if Girls of Destiny would have just moved to the side. We could have had Killer Elite Scott and War Machine, but the three-way tag situation continues. Either way, should still be a good one here. I think Killer Elite Squad retain, but I'm just interested in how they're going to match this up.
I misspoke too. Rocky is the manager for Roppongi 3K, so it's brand new tag team all the way around.
Sweet.
Yeah. The three-way here, the last one they had at Destruction was in Kobe was really good. Killer Elite Squad's going to retain here, but Tornado Rules means they're going to get a bunch of chaos, and I can only hope that the swearing is up to Wrestle Kingdom levels.
That is what we look forward to with these matches. Can we get a bunch of swearing? We want to hear it. This should be really good, though. These three teams have been working together well. Girls of Destiny keeps coming along awesomely. We know what War Machine can do. They have been hosses, and Killer Elite Squad have, the just everlasting tag team for New Japan, and they they know what they be doing. So
Yep.
this should be awesome sauce, I guess, as they say. Yoshihashi, Beretta, and Jado taking on Kenny Omega, Cody, and Marty Scurll. I'd imagine Jado is here to take pins. Cody to get the win, because he can, and prop up some ROH a little bit since he's the champ. Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked. I feel a little bad that Beretta and Yoshihashi are here just because, as much as I really want them to be focused on, Beretta so far in the heavyweight run hasn't looked stellar because they haven't really given him the platform to do so on. He gets dominated all the time just because they're telling the story of maybe he moved up at the wrong time or he's just not ready or all this other stuff. And I definitely think Bullet Club's going to win here, especially with, as you said, Cody being the champ in ROH and Kenny Omega also being over here as well. I would assume Jado is going to eat the fall here, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's Beretta either.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take your lumps, too, when you first come up to the division. You don't normally get to just come up here and just show up everybody else. So, and we've seen a lot of these guys have to, it takes time before you get a push, right? So, how long did Yoshihashi have to wait around to finally start getting something? So, Beretta's just starting. If he's willing to play the long game, I'm sure he will have his time.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I really hope he does. It's just, like, he's winning matches, right? But he's getting his ass handed to him about 90% of them. And it's kind of depressing.
It is. It's sad, sir. But, hey, at least he's winning, right?
Yeah, at least he's
losing constantly. So, you get Hiroshi Tanahashi and Togi Makabe against Kota Ibushi and Juice Robinson. This could be a sneaky, pretty good match here with these four involved. I'm going to be excited to see Juice going at it with Makabe. Seeing, he's going to try to, all right, you're bigger than me, but I got the bigger heart. Let's go at it. And Juice and Tanahashi normally on the same side. So that should be interesting as well. And, of course, anytime Tanahashi and Ibushi can get in the ring, just sign me up, please. That's gonna
they're main eventing the Power Struggle show with the Intercontinental title on the line down the road here, which a lot of the people thought were going to be here. I like Juice and Kota to win here, and I like Juice and Togi Makabe to punch each other into oblivion, because that's what they do.
Please do.
Yeah.
Just make sure nobody gets hurt, and we'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you'd imagine that Kota gets the pin just to make him look strong here, and then we get into the final three matches, all singles matches here, all for some kind of championship or shot or what have you. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship is on the line. Kushida defending against Will Ospreay. Could this be Will Ospreay's moment finally against Kushida? You'd think the story would say that it is. And heck, they could have him have the title for like a month or whatever, or just go into Wrestle Kingdom and he loses it. I don't know. I feel like Kushida's just going to beat him again.
Feel like Kushida's going to beat him again, too. These two guys can put on 4-star matches without breaking a sweat together, which is just always so much fun. I really would like to see Ospreay win here just because it's another fresh face with the championship. And I don't know if they're going to try to do Kushida and Hiromu again at Wrestle Kingdom or what, even though I would be okay with Ospreay and Hiromu at Wrestle Kingdom, honestly, just because the cat thing has been super hilarious. But I like Kushida to win here as well. Although, if we get surprised and Ospreay wins, I'd be okay with that too. Yeah,
I would not, because he's definitely bided his time. He's put on great matches. But it's sometimes it does feel like that wasted opportunity for New Japan. And if he wins and he gets to have the title for a little bit, at least it's something. You gave him a title run to make him feel like he matters some, and might make him think twice before, if he resigns or not.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
If you never show him anything, then he might feel like, all right, well, I had my time here and I'm going to go on and do something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he does have that gig in Australia where he's trying to make them into a bigger part of the scene as well. So
yeah, that's true. He all of a sudden wants to become Australian. So yeah, they were a British colony, I guess, at one point. So
silly cats.
Yes. He just wants to fill his time with kangaroos. So Tetsuya Naito. What?
I said koala bears. I'm trying to think of more Australian
koala
animals.
Bears, dingoes.
Dingoes.
It's all there for him if he wants it. Just go watch some Australian rules. It's good. It's good. Tetsuya Naito defends his Wrestle Kingdom 12 briefcase against Tomohiro Ishii. Oh my God! Just get ready for some just amazing wrestling happening in front of your face, and you need to sit there and watch it all because every time these guys have a match, it's awesome, and you're gonna remember it. And how great would it be if Ishii were to steal that title shot from Naito? We can all dream, right? But it's not gonna happen. Naito's gonna win.
I really, really want this match to make me think that Ishii is going to walk out with that briefcase. I really do, because going into this, I don't believe he has a shot in hell, but I want Ishii to win everything so badly every time I watch him, and this is certainly no different, just because I think him and Okada at the Dome would be wonderful. That's not the story here, I know, but let Ishii and everybody else make me think that he's going to walk out of that briefcase, and I'll call this a win. But Naito's keeping it.
If there's a guy that will make you think that he's going to win something, it's Ishii. He always does. We always say this. We say, oh, okay, he has no shot. By the end of that match, you're sitting there jumping out of your seat like, oh my God, he might win. Holy crap. And then you're like, oh, I have been let down again. Oh, but that match was so great. That's that's how you feel. I mean, that coronation moment is there for Naito. I think it's just that's the story. But man, would it be so great if Ishii could win?
I would love it. Just him and Okada, I think, could sell out the Dome, or well, not sell out, but I think they could carry the Dome attendance that they want. I think Ishii is basically God walking amongst us in Japan, and
we are blessed just to be able to watch him.
I completely agree with you. I don't think an IWGP Heavyweight title run is in line for him at his age, unfortunately. But I really want this to at least maybe possibly lead to an Intercontinental title challenge. I think that would be wonderful.
It would be awesome for him. And, if for some reason Ishii did win, Gary, you're going to have to give us an extra hour on the Monday show just so that Paul and I can gush about Ishii winning for about 30 minutes of it. So, because there will be...
It's going to be Gary crying that his boy lost.
Exactly. Gary will just be emotionless at the thought of... he'll just be in disgust the whole time.
Yeah.
Naito losing, and we will just run through all the adjectives in the thesaurus for Ishii winning. That's what we're gonna do. So you have heard it here first. If Ishii wins, we're gonna go nuts. So the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, another match where it's Okada's winning, but hey. Evil is a really damn good wrestler, and Okada has awesome closing stretches with everybody, so I'm going to hope that there is a moment in this match where you go, holy crap, Evil might win. And then, no, he's not. But, as long as we get the great match that Okada's been delivering all year, and Evil's been doing some good stuff too, I'm fine with that.
This is a match that I think they booked going forward to have another moment where you can be like, man, that Evil, he's going to be a thing. He's going to be a big deal for him. And wrestling Okada obviously is a terrific way to go out there and have just wonderful matches. But I don't know if I necessarily need so much as Evil to convince me that he's going to win. But if he can show that he can compete, which of course he obviously beat Okada during the G1, but another outing like that, I like Evil a lot already. I'd be willing to buy for sure Evil as future IWGP Heavyweight Championship in 2-3 years.
Yeah, I certainly could see that, and I think the first one is that Evil kind of surprised Okada, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this one, you'd think that you'd see Okada having learned from that, and Evil really having to pull something out to get that near fall, I think, to make people think that Okada might win. And it may not happen for him, but like you said, as long as he's there at the end and there was really a back and forth, everything, then we're good. And the way that they have Evil positioned, it's going to be that way, because it would kind of be bad if he just gets dominated by Okada like that. But
yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, there's ways they can go about this. You think that the top two are pretty much done deals. You know what's going to happen. But it's always fun to see how they get there.
Is this also supposed to be the show where the stabby guy is supposed to debut?
I think so.
Can't remember.
I think so.
Yeah.
Are we still on the thought of it being Sami Callihan? Or?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot of convincing for me to make me feel like you are a New Japan guy, but all right. I'm down with it.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it's another LIJ guy, because, I mean, Evil's great as the resident tough dude, but I think that's what Sammy's going to be here for, is the raging psychopath.
Carries around a knife, just stab everyone.
That Switchblade Conspiracy back in CZW worked out pretty well. Yeah. I'd be okay with that.
Well, you already have Evil doing weird gimmick entrance. Are they going to have him do it too? I'm
down. More laser lights. That's what I want.
Let's do it. Laser lights everywhere. That's what needs to happen. So, all right. We're going to move from tremendous things to maybe not so much with your Impact Wrestling right now.
TNA Impact Wrestling.
Or whatever they're calling themselves this week. Impact Wrestling, as my doc is deciding it wants to just slow down to a crawl here. But alright, so they started off with I was watching this during the Thursday night football game, so some of my recanting of this show is not going to be the greatest. I guess props to them for giving a memoriam to Lance Russell and doing something for Vegas as well. You get Eli Drake and Chris Adonis to start off the show. Basically, they're talking about how even with Jim Cornette getting in the way, Eli Drake is still going to be champion. And, he beat Cornette's Golden Boy, and he's going to even be going to Japan, and he even calls out ladies from 18 to 36 with, double D's and everything. Eli Drake, I guess thank you for taking us back to that past time. Trying to be a little Rick Rude there. I don't know that it works so well for you, but...
Yeah.
Chris Adonis does have a match with Garza Jr. Right after this. Eli Drake's always fun on the microphone. I don't have a problem with that at all. That's what he does best. So, then you have this match that Adonis wins by DQ because Johnny Impact gets involved, and then they brawl. And of course, there's a number one contenders match happening on Impact next week. Because the title match is happening at Bound for Glory. That's a month from when this show happened. Garza Jr. and Adonis was fine. There was nothing spectacular about it.
It about sums up Chris Adonis, really.
What can you say?
Yeah. I like Garza Jr. personally. I'm really kind of excited to see what him and Impact can do together next week. I didn't mind the promo, honestly. Eli's usually a bit of hit or miss for me. I kind of dig delusional heels, and this is, I think, a pretty darn good example of somebody who just got the cheap win and is selling it for all it's worth. And while it doesn't really make you feel confident he might walk away from Bound for Glory as the champion, it does certainly at least make the ride fun.
Yeah, certainly. Like I said, I really like Eli Drake talking. He does wonderful stuff on the microphone. He doesn't always hit it, but when he does well. And, I'm also a big fan of Garza Jr. I like the tag team he was in, and now he's getting to do single stuff. I'm sure him and Mr. Impact will do some wonderful stuff. Impact always delivers, not the show. Johnny and Garza's they get the contingent of they work on some of that Lucha Underground style in there, so that should be fun. We get more stuff with Moose and Lashley and his group there. Conan's pissed because they're losing money and they lost the titles, and they pretty much agree that Santana and Ortiz got to stick together here, and we'll find out more about what they're going to do with them later on in the show. OVE takes on John Bolin and Trey Miguel. This was pretty much here so that they could squash them, and I don't know, OVE are just kind of there for me, and I didn't really see anything great.
I think Dave and Jake Christ are phenomenally talented, but TNA or Impact or GFW, whatever, they very, very quickly rushed them into winning the championships and sort of skipped over all the build to make you care about them. So now they're just kind of flat, right? And that kind of sucks because they're very exciting, and when they get the chance to really cut loose, they're awesome. Hopefully this thing with LAX builds up into more. I am so over Lashley, though. Like, this whole thing with American Top Team has just killed my interest in him, and hopefully him and Moose can put on something worthwhile whenever the time comes, but I'm not interested at all in any of that.
Yeah, it just doesn't look that interesting. It's just like, him beat up Moose with his buddies. Oh, here's the big bully, I guess. And it's like, Moose is a pretty big guy. I'm sure that it wouldn't be just a walk in the park for Lashley to be having a fight with Moose,
Right.
So, I don't know. It seems like a stretch for me at points. Speaking of stretching, they certainly are stretching out this Knockouts feud thing here with Sienna coming out to talk about how at Bound for Glory, since she's beaten up everybody, she might even fight men. Well, you're in the wrong company to be doing that. And well, guess what? Now I'm going to go into the Hall of Fame and retire as champion. Yeah, right. And so then, of course, you get Gail Kim, who is a Hall of Famer. This leads into, of course, the whole Gail Kim wants to retire as champion. Then Taryn Terrell comes out to tell you about her whole deal with being the longest reigning champion in Knockouts history before Sienna. And then, of course, Allie comes out because she's Allie. And then Karen Jarrett, because I guess, she has to make an appearance. She tells you that everybody's going to be in the match. What do you know? I could have seen that one coming a mile away, folks.
Meh.
Yes. That's it, yeah.
There's not really a whole lot going on with the Knockouts other than just what they told you. It's a revolving door. Girls have problems that are old, and not necessarily anything new is happening. They're just fighting, basically, and it's kind of boring.
Oh, women be catty, Paul. Women be catty.
That's a new hat right there, I'll tell you what.
Yep. That's not been in wrestling for a long time at all.
Untouched ground.
Grado gets to do autograph signings, and Joseph Park tells him, hey, this is just the start, while he's secretly taking a bunch of the money. What a dastardly dude, that Joseph Park. Just like any attorney, taking your money and, not giving you a whole lot.
Yeah, not telling you about it either. What a jerk.
What an ass, that Joseph Park. And to think he made us care about him.
I know, right?
Jeez. You suck, Joseph Park. Anyway, Drew, I thought this was actually, this was good. The X Division stuff is, sometimes it's hit or miss, but they delivered here. Andrew Everett, Caleb Conley, Trevor Lee against Sanjay Dutt, Petey Williams, and Matt Sydal. You have the Sanjay Dutt, Petey Williams, and Matt Sydal team win, just so that we can have everybody claim that they won an X Division title shot. So what's probably going to wind up happening is that we'll wind up having, what do you know, a fatal four-way or something.
I smell Ultimate X personally,
but that too.
It's sort of whatever, right? The X Division is basically in the same shape that the Knockouts division is. There's been some battle line drawing. I really didn't like Andrew Everett being on the same team as Trevor Lee after you had the big blow up between those guys, and even though it didn't really amount into nothing, it's still part of your story here that I was hoping they would keep cohesive, but. Everything else here, the action's fine, right? And I assume we're gonna get to Matt Sydal winning the championship sooner rather than later now, but I don't know. The action's good. I'm not really invested in anybody, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, it just kind of seems like they're just all there, and they're, just part of the revolver of X Division, and. Yeah, I don't know. I've fallen, I think they've done a good job of using Sanjay Dutt and Petey Williams and Matt Sydal as, I think, working well there. It's just, just okay. More multi-person stuff, not really getting behind a person. Hopefully they fix this whenever I don't know what they're going to have to do with the stories if Jarrett's not going to be involved, but I guess that will be after Bound for Glory.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to figure that out.
Laurel Van Ness shows up on a scooter to make out with just a fan sitting in the building because she's crazy, dude. And I like her character. I just feel like it's kind of just totally just wearing itself out.
Is Grado really worth going this freaked out over? I don't know.
I don't know. Looking at him would scare me, but, maybe he should go be in the next It movie instead.
We all float down here, Sean.
Yep, that's exactly what happens. Thankfully that hurricane that's coming is missing Texas because there could be more people floating. So.
Yeah.
Moose, because, he's... I don't know that this man thinks too much about what's going on. It's one man against the whole T-Op team, dude. You're shoving Dan Lambert around. You're stepping into a cage. What do you think's going to happen? and then you're just gonna throw him out. So, oh, whoop-de-doo.
Certainly playing into the not smart jock stereotype.
Is he gonna learn from this? I hope.
Don't wander into a gym full of MMA fighters. I hope so.
It's like, is he gonna get himself some people to help him, or is he just gonna keep doing this lone wolf thing? Please.
I don't know.
Do something, Moose. Please.
I miss old Lashley. Lashley doesn't need any of these trappings they have on. The whole MMA or wrestling thing is sort of something that should have just been in the background. Like, yeah, the MMA thing gave him legitimacy in a way, but it doesn't need to be what he's entirely about. And I don't know. It really has made a great character seem very, very lame now that he's got cronies and all this. He doesn't need that.
He doesn't need that, yeah.
Yeah.
The dude he can whoop anybody. I mean...
Right. He just murders people. That's what Lashley do.
Gosh, that's just lame.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why do you have to go mess that up, GFW? I don't understand. So EC3 and James Storm, you have Paul's close personal friend with the guy that he can't stand. And then, how did that work out for you?
Limo rides have been very uncomfortable, Sean.
I can imagine. So you just ignore James Storm the whole time? Is that?
I put a blue dot over him so that way I don't have to talk to him.
Ooh, I wonder if Christian Cage ever appears, to tell him, hey, you stole my gimmick, James Storm.
Yeah.
So EC3, somehow we are keeping it light at 4:52 Eastern time over here. So EC3 and James Storm taking on Tejano Jr. and El Hijo de Fantasma. Of course, this is King Cuerno and Lucha Underground fame. This felt like a match that took a long time to kind of just be good.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like not a whole lot happened, and then AAA team wins.
Yeah, you get some Pagano interference, which I'm fine with. The idea here is that the team from AAA here is much more of a solid unit, and EC3 and James Storm are still sort of haphazardly working together after their whole beef together. So, this made sense. I don't know if it needed to be 20 minutes, but you get some decent work. I think the story is working towards some kind of payoff. I assume a big multi-man down the stretch, but I don't know. The feud doesn't really interest me all that much because I can't really stand James Storm all that much, but if this is how this is going to go, this made sense. And if it's going to build up to the big victory down the stretch, then that's fine too.
Yeah, you needed the Impact team to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And this works because they had the interference. It wasn't just a straight-up loss. And yeah, like you said, it's telling that story of, the EC3 and Storm are going to have to get it together, or Impact team could lose.
Right.
More.
Right.
So we find out what's going to happen with the tag titles. Conan, tells Key, what are we doing? It's a 51-50 street fight at BFG. Low-key, not too happy about it, though.
Yeah. This is an element that I think will showcase both OVE and LAX very well if they get a lot of time to really show off what they can do. The LAX guys, I think, are wonderful and maybe already sowing some dissent with Low-key and the clubhouse and all that, but I'm kind of looking forward to the match, even though they haven't done a great job of handling OVE, just because I think it'll be really fun.
Yeah, street fight with LAX, OVE, going to be good. Hopefully it's one of the more standout things from that show, but we'll have to see in a month from now when we get there. But that is going to do it for our Impact Wrestling for this week.
Yeah, very meh, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt at the end. I
Mhm.
mean, didn't help that the football game also got interesting, but yeah, that
Yeah.
game was much more interesting
Yeah, for
than that
sure.
show. But yes, so we got one thing left to do, and that is do some Superstar of the Week.
Superstar of the Week.
All right, so as our ending segment, and of course this being the first week of October, can't believe it's October already.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We've got to do a Wrestler of the Month and Match of the Month, which we'll do in just a little bit. We got to do our last of this week here. And so to start off, we have Braun Strowman, because he had a really good match with Seth Rollins, getting 1 point.
Yeah, really, really fun match. They played up the big man, little man theme very well. Braun keeps on crushing fools, which is great because I was a little bit worried about him after the faux pas with not winning the title after against Brock Lesnar. So it was kind of good it's been good to see him get back on track to his usual murderous ways.
Braun murdering people is always the best.
Mm-hmm.
Even better when he can scream things in monster
Yes.
mode. Evilise gets 2 points because of her. The match wasn't very long, but it was still a good match. There was also not a lot to pick from this week. Let's be honest. Evilise gets 2 points for defeating Katrina and finally getting revenge for this 3-year-long feud.
Yeah, really, really fun match too. Lots of blood, unexpectedly large amounts of blood too. And they, like Sean said, they didn't overstay their welcome. They told their story very well. I think within the time they were given, no complaints.
The Miz gets 3 points because he retained his championship.
Yeah, against Roman Reigns this week over on Raw. The match was actually pretty good as well. I think that there's maybe some chemistry there to be had between Mr. Roman and The Miz there going forward, but lots of good stuff happening over there on Raw with those guys happening in the Shield reunion and possibly Miz teaming up with the Bar, which I am all for.
The cock tease of all cock teases with the Shield reunion here. And of course, hey, what do you know? Roman being good in the ring, that's not his problem. Glad to see that him and the Miz getting things going over there. And Drew McIntyre retaining his championship against Roderick Strong on NXT.
Such a really, really good match. Over 15 minutes. Great back and forth. I don't know if I ever believed Roddy was going to win, but the action was wonderful, even if the crowd wasn't as involved as I was kind of hoping they would be.
Sad.
Yeah.
It seems like that crowd at Full Sail has just been going down, down, and more down for a while now.
They've been pretty wishy-washy with Roddy, too, which is kind of unfortunate.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Roddy's a guy you can get behind if you do it right. It might take a little bit, though. He's not just a personality either.
It's true. It's true.
So, and then, of course, the big triumphant win for Phoenix, Melissa Santos, and everyone else. So Phoenix gets 5 points for getting to keep his mask, winning the Lucha de Apuestas in a great match, and also getting to cut Marty the Moss hair. I mean, pretty outstanding night for him.
Yeah, I mean, Lucha de Apuestas are a big deal in Lucha Libre. Very, very, usually very pivotal moments for characters down there. Hopefully that proves the same here for Lucha and Marty and all that. But the match itself is just absolutely wonderful. Lots of action, lots of great brawling, lots of great spots, lots of blood if you're into that. Like, it was a horror show over on Lucha Underground this week, and that really helped make all this stand out that much more.
Yeah, they knew what month they were in. So they were getting us ready for that Halloween. I mean, the 25 Nights of Horror came early.
It sure did.
Anyways.
It sure did.
So that's going to do it for our show here this evening, this morning, whenever you're listening to us. We want to thank you for listening to us. And if you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button. Whether you do it on Wrestling to the Max, which that gets you everything that we do, all the review shows, which again I want to thank Harry and Liz Puglisi for doing SmackDown at 205 now. Really cool that that show goes how it was intended. That Harry was supposed to be the host, and so we got a good lineup going. He has filled in the whole week for Gary, helping out Paul as well on the Raw and NXT. So I want to thank him for being an awesome person and awesome part of the team. And like I mentioned, him and Patrick Ketzel will be doing Wrestling Unwrapped Reacts, the Hell in a Cell 2017 on Sunday, as we will. So we'll be back. Gary will be back, thankfully, because he does this way better than I do, and I can go back to just analyzing stuff. So, for Paul, for myself, subscribe to the W2M Network. Go visit W2Mnet.com. Thank you for 41 Mania for also allowing us to have our podcast on their site, and everything else. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll be back for Hell in a Cell. Hopefully that pay-per-view is good.
Hopefully.
Later, everyone.
Have a good night, guys.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.